Good morning, Messina Central High School families. It's Mr. Oliver. I'm just reaching out to you today for my my update I'm going to do for every week or two. And I just have a few things to chat with you about today. I wanted to reach out and give you some information about parent-teacher conferences that are coming up this week. We need to talk a little bit about a review of masks and cell phones at the school. We're about to review those rules with the students, and I wanted to give parents a heads up. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about radar recognition. If I do this right, it should only be a few minutes, but you know how I am. So let's get going. First thing, and most importantly in the video, is parent-teacher conferences. Parent-teacher conferences are Wednesday this week, which is November 17th. Students will dismiss from school that day at 10:30 in the morning, and we will offer two sessions of parent-teacher conferences that day. The first session will be from 12 to 3 p.m., the second session from 4 to 7 p.m. These conferences are live and at school. The general rules I've laid out on here, and I'm going to hide this little button for a minute. The conferences, if you've been a parent here before, they typically were in the gym. Due to COVID considerations, we made some changes this year. Conferences will be in individual teachers' classrooms. We ask that at any time there's only two people that come for any one kid. So if you have a family where there's different parenting situations, everybody can come, that just two at a time. We're going to ask that there's 6 feet of social distance between staff and parents and guardians at all times. Everybody at the school has to wear a mask while they are here. That goes for parents and staff alike. We'll have chairs set up in the hallway outside the classrooms for the comfort of people that are waiting. And we will have schedules and report cards and maps on hand, and hopefully we'll have some students here to help point you around as well. So everything will be set up and fine and ready for you to go for parent-teacher conferences. We'll have some light refreshments in the main lobby of the school. We're very likely going to have some informational tables set up here from different community groups and organizations if you're interested in those kinds of things. So it should be a nice night at school. And the main point is to come and see how your kids are doing after first quarter of the school year. I would also tell you if they're doing great, awesome. And if they're not doing so great, the reason why we do them after first quarter is to facilitate those conversations with the school if your kid needs a little extra support. So if you don't see a report card you're really happy with, that's okay. Just reach out to counselors and school staff and we'll help you and get you pointed in the right direction for the rest of the year. So that is all I wanted to say about parent-teacher conferences. Next up is cell phones and mask rules. I'm going to start this by saying these aren't my favorite two subjects to talk about, but they are two subjects that are very much centered on health and safety of students. As we started the year, as we've gotten going, our students started out doing okay with these rules, and then things are starting to slide a little bit, so to the point where the school feels the need to sort of relaunch these two rules this week. We see a lot of students that aren't necessarily wearing the mask the right way, which would be covering your nose and your face completely, but it slips under the nose or it's down under the chin. Regardless of opinions about COVID, public health has us wearing masks, and there's absolutely no point in wearing a mask if it's below your nose or under your mouth. So starting on Monday, we're going to review these rules with the kids, and on Tuesday, they will start being addressed. And it could become a disciplinary issue if we have kids that just flat out refuse to wear the masks. So please, parents, if you can at home, make sure that you're telling the kids to make sure they're wearing their masks. And if they're not, don't be surprised if you have a kid that you know doesn't like to wear it or refuses to wear it. Don't be surprised if you hear from us this week, because we are going to sort of relaunch that rule this week. The other rule we'll be relaunching this week and refocusing on is the cell phone rule. Now, the cell phones are supposed to be in the locker, as are smartwatches, for example. This is a rule. When I said health and safety earlier, I meant it with cell phones too. There's a lot that goes on social media, and a lot of our kids, I would almost use the word, are addicted to checking their social media feeds, and it becomes a distraction at school. And then sometimes things that aren't so nice are happening on social media while kids are at school. And needless to say, while all that is going on, kids aren't focused on their education. And that's the reason why we have cell phones in lockers. Cell phones are perfectly secure in lockers. Students can access them after school and before school if they need to contact you. And if there's an emergency during the day, I assure you that there's regular phones all over this place. So all you have to do is call the school and we can get you in contact with your kids. So, parents, if you don't mind, we'd love you to review the rule at home and make sure your kids know that they need to be wearing their mask properly and their cell phones and smart devices need to be in their lockers. If you could do that for us, we would greatly appreciate it. And if your kids are struggling with that, you're probably going to hear from us. So, thanks. Last thing, on a positive note, because I hate to end on a negative note like those two rules, I wanted to let you know about radar recognition. You know, sometimes at school, it's really easy to get focused on the kids that are struggling their way through here to the expense of forgetting about the kids that are doing awesome. So we've launched something called radar recognition, which is simply a way to recognize the kids that are positive and doing the right thing all the time, whether it's behaviorally, grades, both, whatever. So what we've started to do is I've asked teachers to fill out basically positive behavioral referrals and write little notes about what they saw your kid do that's awesome or what they're doing in your class that's awesome. And I'm photocopying them, sticking them on a bulletin board up here in the lobby, and we're chucking them in the mail to you guys. As a parent of a high school kid, as a parent of a kid, period, I like to hear when my kid's doing the right thing, and I think everybody else does too. And sometimes at the high school, we don't do a good enough job with that. So we're really trying to reach out and bring that into being part of our normal operation up here. So if you see a card in the mail that looks like this, you can know that somebody at the high school is saying your kid did something good, and that's a good thing. So those are my updates for the week, families. As always, if you need me, you can get a hold of me in the main office or shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks a lot for a few minutes of your time this morning, and we look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday for Parent-Teacher Conferences. Thanks a lot, and have a great week.